Hello, everybody. This is the Stephen D. Kelly Show. My name is Stephen D. Kelly. This is Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. It's February 10th, a few days away from Valentine's Day. Is this a Valentine's Day show? You going to show me some love? You want some love from me? Ugh. I should just start over since all of you guys just decided to show up right now. But anyway, no. You know who I am. Okay. Well, the title for tonight's show, for the most part, is going to be HONK for Occupy the Getty. All right, I wanted to talk a little bit about the trucker thing because obviously that's going on in Canada and the USA and parts of Europe, I guess it is. And it's all very encouraging. We like to see action. This is certainly falls into the action category. It's much stronger than intentions and desires and wants. Sometimes actually doing something is a big deal. But here's the thing. Basically, it's a protest. And obviously these things start for different reasons, and sometimes it's like the Yellow Vest protest in France. It started out usually, I think, with some sort of an automobile-related tax, and I think with the truckers, they were having something where they weren't able to drive unless they were jabbed. You know, this was some sort of mandate thing. So I think they may have been protesting that. For all we know, they could have been protesting the cost of fuel, but no, I believe this time around it was because they were going to lose their jobs if they didn't get jabbed, so they didn't want to go with that. Now, of course, just talking about this subject and just talking about honk, using the word honk, apparently is something that you can be censored for. It's become a bad word. It's amazing the things that we're finding out are bad words. Maybe you haven't heard, I got shut down off of Twitter. Now, this is a big deal, and I'm going to tie this into the whole storyline tonight. But the thing is that, sure, we've been working hard. We've been making some certain successes, taking a lot of things for granted. But a lot of you may not know, and a lot of you may forget that the whole reason of why Occupy the Getty was created was so that people's lives and efforts would not be wasted protesting something that wouldn't accomplish anything in a place that wouldn't accomplish anything in a way that wouldn't accomplish anything. And of course, my original inspiration for this method, this movement, for the creation of the Occupy the Getty movement, not the mission per se, the mission's always been the same, but the movement, the expression Occupy the Getty, was intended to be a worldwide protest, one that would actually stop our enemy. And in this case, of course, the protest was to end the child trafficking and the human trafficking, and to expose the underground bunkers and use the sexual criminal activity as our justification for doing this. Now, the enemy, of course, uses both sides of every issue. They control both sides of the issue, and they are certainly trying to control this and us. And I'll try to remember to mention that silly Allie Carter person. It's really difficult for me to not use vulgar language when I'm discussing that particular person, but that's not going away. But it's related to what I'm talking about. So, of course, back when Occupy the Getty was created, there was a Bundy Ranch incident, and this, of course, was driven because of greed, because somebody was being persecuted by the BLM, and not the Black Lives Matter, but the Bureau of Land Management. And this, of course, was the Bundy family, and he was able to rally quite a large bit of support, mostly conservative types, the same sort of momentum and energy that Trump would tend to dominate and take over, hijack. But this led to a a second standoff at a bird sanctuary. I think it was in Oregon, I guess it was. I don't have the name. I keep wanting to say Alfred P. Murrah, but I know it was something else. But either way, that event produced a martyr, and his name was Lavoy Finnegan. Anyway, regardless of how you feel about him or how you feel about the circumstances that led to him being killed by the FBI, my feelings were that this was a waste, that effort, that focus, that energy should have gone into something that would have actually done something like bringing light to what's under the Getty. And this is why Occupy the Getty was created, so that any time any focus or any protest is going on out there, that we would need to capture that. We would need to try to take that energy and bring it to us. Now, of course, the Occupy movement is certainly a word that we borrowed from the Occupy movement because it illustrates exactly what it is that we hope to do, what we endeavor to do. But here's the thing. The Occupy movement was created as a COINTEL operation by our enemy. The same way they created the pot legalization program, the same way they created QAnon, the same way they took that energy and they used it to hijack us and to put us in the camp of a false hero, such as Trump. I really want to talk about heroes tonight because this is a very important thing when we talk about simple humans. These truck drivers, of course, people have asked me, what's really behind it? Where's the money? What's going on? I personally believe that for the most part, these individuals, these drivers are righteous individuals that just happen to be men, that happen to have balls, that happen to know that real action is the only way anything gets done, rather than typing on a keyboard or putting a bumper sticker on your car or who knows what it is that people do that they think is actually action. Now, I respect that, but at the same time, I realize that ultimately, even though these protests for the most part have relatively small, focused, selfish agendas, all of these things can be accomplished through Occupy the Getty. Only Occupy the Getty can save the world, and obviously a lot of people don't understand that, but we need to have that energy working for us. Right now, even if this is a grassroots movement, and even if it is effective, what's happening is that we have laws, we have policy being created, being put into work right now, coming out of the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, that basically make conspiracy theory a crime, equated with terrorism. If you are involved in the dissemination of a so-called conspiracy theory, you are considered to be a terrorist in the eyes of the Homeland Security and its Gestapo. Now, I suppose it's just a coincidence that the moment I posted the image from the White House, from the Department of Homeland Security, of this information on my Twitter, the last platform I have other than Telegram, that my Telegrams or my Twitter suddenly was shut down, not just one, but both accounts, 2 accounts. I was told, of course, that I was using multiple accounts to harass people. Now, this is nonsense, of course, because certainly I only use one at a time, and I'm certainly not using this to harass people except for people like Gordon Getty, etc. So, needless to say, there's really nothing that can be done about that, but this is the nature of the enemy. They take our weakness, and they use it against us. They call it community standards. I could go on and on about the perversions that they do, but I really want to focus on the truck drivers. But either way, Mercury retrograde or whatever, I got shut off. Now, there's other things going on. Certainly, I have the Telegram. I don't have the Facebook anymore, and whatever there is out there, Instagram, I can't do that. And I depend on everyone else to take what I have and utilize it. There's 2 strikes on my YouTube account right now. And if you understand what that means if I get another strike, it goes down. No appeal. Now, currently, there are complaints registered about the video I did about the grifter woman that calls herself Kim Shady. Patches, I guess her name. Kimberly Patches is her name. But either way, apparently some people, possibly her, decided that was a violation of her privacy. I'm not sure what it was. The picture of her home, the picture of her face. I'm guessing the picture of her home was what really screwed her up with her little head. But hey, come on. You're a public person. It's not that hard to find this stuff on Google, which is interesting when you consider that Google runs YouTube, and it's Google that's complaining about these images when it's Google that's providing this information in these images. Anything you want to know about somebody, you can find it on Google. But I guess if you share it, then it becomes an invasion. It's okay when they invade someone's privacy, but if you do it, it's a problem. So anyway, on top of that, as you know, Microsoft owns Skype, which we're using right now to broadcast. And obviously, I'm using a Microsoft operating system for all these little computers. Now, before you tell me, oh, but just go use Linux, do this or do that. Yes, I understand. But here's the thing. Somebody hacks my Skype. I have to change my password. Next thing I know, I get problems with Microsoft saying, hey, you changed your password. That has nothing to do with the product code that comes on the side of the box for the operating system, the Windows 10 that I purchased. But for some reason, because I changed my password on Skype, I now have to enter my code from my product purchase from whatever it was that I built this computer. Isn't that lovely? Now, so hopefully I endeavor to find that information really quick. And hopefully they won't just turn off my computer. But the thing is we can't assume that we're dealing with reasonable people that are doing these things for reasonable reasons. We know that the White House has basically said that we're terrorists. So all these little platforms are going to use whatever politically correct strategy they can to come up with excuses to shut us down in such a way that perhaps someone could argue does not violate our First Amendment, which, of course, Trump allowed to be destroyed. Well, anyway. So I'm a little concerned. I was obviously very pissed off when my battle finally ended with Facebook. I mean, I fought against those guys for years and had thousands and thousands of people that I had cultivated and were following us. And of course, every time you take a hit, it's hard to recover. It's sort of like being on Revolution Radio. You know, let me tell you guys, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but yeah, I had 1 million listeners on Revolution Radio. And on a bad night when nobody was paying attention for, they didn't like my content or didn't like my guest, whatever, I maybe only got a couple hundred, 250,000 people on a bad night. Minimum every show, 250,000 people. You don't want to know how many people are listening right now or how many people they're letting me know are listening right now, but it certainly is not that many zeros. So what happened? Bit by bit, they take it away. My YouTube goes away, then what? Well, I've still got the radio station, but what, however, 33 listeners right now I'm looking at, something like that I can see. You got to be kidding me, right? And then of course there's the Trump pages. Keep going on and on and on and on and on. Or the David Icke pages, or the Wano Savin pages, or the Charlie pages, or the Kim Shady pages, and on and on and on and on and on and on. And I can't get anything. Or then there's Ally Carter, of course, who is trying to apparently get people to go to, I don't know, what is it, the Super Bowl to protest child sex slavery. Now, I've had people say, no, don't mess with the Super Bowl. How is the Super Bowl bringing attention to the Getty? And is there going to be people walking around with signs about the Getty? And why is this little cunt, sorry, but she's a little cunt, going around saying that I haven't even been to the Getty? This is incredible, considering that there's film of me walking around the damn place, and there's pictures of me there, and there have been pictures of me there for over, 10, 20 years now. So, gosh, this is incredible. But you see, here's the thing. She's a little Satanist. Now, you cannot expect a Satanist to act logical. Well, let's put it this way. Maybe it's a deceit thing that is actually very tricky, but the latest thing now is she's trying to act all Christian, some sort of a pro-Jesus person, and yet she's trying to cast me as some sort of a Satanist, which is incredible, considering that this little girl actually is a Satanist. But when you're dealing with something like this, you have to understand that this is not a piety contest. You don't do battle with a deceitful entity like this by trying to outdo them at performing some sort of appearance to try to be holier than thou. This is a war. There is no place for it. There is no room for apologies. I want to talk a little bit about heroes tonight, because I see a lot of emphasis on this, especially in our culture with comic books, and how so much of the movies and what have you now is focused around these superheroes, comic culture. And I've noticed, of course, because of the woke culture, that a lot of what people are used to with the stereotypical superhero type of character is being twisted. We're seeing gender roles switched. We're seeing integration of different types of heritage, race types that would not be associated with a particular character historically. But most of all, we're seeing a switch where the good guy turns out to be the bad guy, and the bad guy turns out to be the real hero saving the world. Now, sometimes this lesson can be very appropriate, like in the Star Wars movie. In the Star Wars series, you'll see that the real bad guys actually had to create enemies so that they could gain power by convincing the population, the people, the various empires, people in the empire, that they needed the empire to defeat these enemies that were created. We do the same thing today. The people that control us, they need to be on both sides of every issue. They need to control the narrative. that's generated by these issues, the talking points, the buzz, the heroes that they create, they're like this. We see guys like Joe Rogan, who's being embraced, of course, by the Q crowd, the Trump people, the conservatives. Now, Joe Rogan is a Luciferian, kind of like the little alley girl, but he's convinced people that he's somehow not necessarily a Christian per se, but someone who's politically conservative and stands up for common sense and what's right. And he recently came out and said all sorts of things about COVID. He's done all kind. Now, I knew he was a shill back when he said that chemtrails weren't real, but most recently, he got in trouble for saying that ivermectin worked. Some of these other treatments worked. And everybody said he was horrible for misinformation, and they started a big campaign to denigrate him by removing their music from Spotify and nonsense like this. Now, of course, this is a guy that has a big following, a very huge following, but of course, it was created. It's all contrived. Now, conveniently, now that the battle lines have been drawn and we find a large portion of our political demographic defending this guy because of his thoughts on COVID, suddenly recordings of him calling derogatory, using the N-word against black people, or in some reference, I don't know the context, but he got called out of it for it. Now he's in trouble. And of course, the narrative is that this is the liberals attacking the darling of the conservatives. Well, he was created for that purpose. It's kind of like now we hear some of these people, some of the media, they're trying to nail the truckers down. They're trying to say, what do you guys, what is it you want? What do you want? What do you want? And they think we know what they want. We think they know what they want. They want the bullshit to stop. Everybody wants the bullshit to stop, but nobody knows how to stop it. That's where we come in. There's this other comic I want to tell you about, a couple of them, that sort of bring this thing to home. One of them was called, I saw this thing, someone said, well, this is a really good comic because the characters, the character arc is really complex. I thought, well, this is a really complex story. So I actually wanted to watch it, because I'm kicked off Twitter, I'm bored. So I watched this little comic. And the way it turns out is the bad guy is really a good guy. I mean, the good guy is really a bad guy. The superhero, the strongest man on earth, turns out to be the enemy of Earth, wants to enslave it, a real fascist, all sorts of white guy connotations. They got it all in there. His son, of course, was half white, half Chinese. His wife was Chinese. They had a baby, and the son, of course, fought him. But he eventually is defeated, but they're working very hard to kill this idea of the good guy. And not just the good guy, but of the champion, the one that's there and that's going to be depended on to save the earth. This other one I'm watching is a series on, HBO, one of these things called The Boys. And it's a similar scenario where you've got superheroes, but of course they all turn out to be absolutely corrupt, wicked, and evil. Now, of course, one of the things I noticed, not just in that show, but one of the other shows, was the liberal use of the language, sort of language I find offensive, like Jesus this and God that. Those are the only words that bother me. You can say fuck all day, I don't care. So these people who write this stuff know what they're doing. And this other show, of course, it takes it one step further. It's got a character named, what they call that guy, Homelander. Now, of course, Homelander, there's your Homeland Security, Homeland Defense, real Nazi-ish type of fascist thing, kind of like the Trump thing going on, the whole post-9/11 type regime that we've been dealing with. Well, they do it all in there. They show these guys working up the Christians, false baptisms, Christian leaders who were homosexual, yada, 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 killing people, shooting down airplanes, and then blaming it on terrorists so that they could go and kill people in caves, this kind of thing. I've only seen a couple of episodes of the first season, so I can't really tell you where this goes, but I'm seeing a pattern here. And the pattern, I think, is reflective of the overall process, like is outlined in the protocols. Because ultimately everything that we're dealing with, it's in there. It's in the protocols. Now, the end of the protocols, not the part where they talk about blowing up the undergrounds at the Getty. That's where we come in. That's where we stop them. But at the end of the protocols, they talk about the great disillusionment. How by the time comes, people will be so disillusioned from one disappointment after another that they'll be ready to accept the Antichrist, the God of Zion. Now, I see this happening all the time. I certainly see this with the Trump people. I've come to the conclusion, I said this the last show, that the best way for us to get moving forward is to remove this guy, to have him gone. Because anything we do, any positive movement in the right direction, even the truck drivers strike, even the work that they're doing, it will be hijacked by these scum like Trump. What is Dan Scavino saying right now to the world? He's saying, help us win back the White House so we can get rid of the lunatics and running everything now. Some stupid thing like that. As if Trump was a hero. Well, we're being programmed to think that these heroes, not only are they not heroes, but they're evil. Now, ultimately, I guess the idea is that we're supposed to accept that these evil individuals are the ones that are going to save us in the end. We'll have to go through hell. They'll have to slaughter and persecute a lot of us, but eventually it'll turn out that they're really good guys and they had good intentions all along. I really don't know where that crap comes from. We're being told now by the conservatives, the types of the Q guys, the Kim Shadys of the world, that Trump is an imperfect savior, like King David. Somehow King David is supposed to be some I can't elevate him to anything more than an adulterous murderer, a scheming lowlife, an idiot that got lucky with a stone and a sling. By no way is his blood sacred, but somehow you people think that it is. But no. Donald Trump, there's nothing sacred about Donald Trump. He's no hero. This concept of giving us heroes to be taken away so that you'll accept their hero, their Satan. I suppose that's why they want you to see these so-called superheroes, these Superman-type personas, slaughtering people, doing vicious things, non-hero-like, because they want you to embrace that. That's all we see on TV anymore anyway, or all we see in the movies, or anything of this nature. The hero is always some wicked person that has a good side. There's something good about him. It's insane. Now, obviously, Jesus certainly doesn't fit into that scenario, that type of filter, whatever you want to call it. There's no way that you could ever suggest that there was any imperfections of that nature. But at the same time, he was very human, and that is something that has also been hidden, and much effort has been put into making that concept go away. Now, I don't intend to be here very long. I'm a frail human, a scraggly old man, And I need you people to step up, because I just lost 2,600 or whatever it was people on Twitter. Well, like 3,000, I guess, whatever. And now I'm down to, going on 2,000. So the alarm bells are ringing. Okay, the sirens are going off. This is the air raid stuff that I'm trying to make those noises for you right now. Homeland Security declared war on us. They're going to do everything they can to shut us down and eventually round us up and do something. Now, here's the thing. If they throw me in a bag with a bunch of other nuts, and we're just a big bag of mixed nuts, and I'm treated like everyone else, we're never going to go anywhere. It's not going to work out. I need you guys to put my name out there and my face out there. If you don't do that, this doesn't work, because they can mess with you. They can mess with the truckers. They can take their gas. They can throw them in jail. They can do all this stuff. But if all those people that are being arrested and being thrown in jail, if they don't use my name, it's not going to help. None of this is going to matter. Because I'm the one trying to make them do something. And the only way they can do something is if they take you all down at the same time and they throw me in there and I get hidden underneath all of you. And the only way that's not going to happen is if all of you put me out there in front. If you had my name on the side of those damn trucks, if you had Occupy the Getty on those trucks, and not Allie Carter's name, but my name, something might happen. Something might actually happen, because I need them to come to me. What more do I need to do? They need to sue me. They need to try to arrest me. They need to do something. They need to try to stop me. And when I say stop me, I don't mean shut down my YouTube, take away my computer. They're doing everything they can to silence my voice by taking away the tools that I have to reach all of you. And yet, over a period of almost 10 years now, come November 2022, will be 10 years since I went public, I can only count so many of you that are actively out there right now making memes, making pages, putting up videos, mirroring my content, putting out effort to try to make this happen. A handful, maybe 10 people, I don't know. And what have I got to measure that against? Well, right now I've got about a little under 2,000 people on the Telegram group. God bless the Telegram group. If you haven't joined it, what are you waiting for? But still, what is that? A half of 1%? Something like that? 0.05, something of this nature? It's a pretty tiny little fraction. I need that to be a hell of a lot more. And here's the thing. I am really sick of hearing people say, oh, don't quit, don't quit. Don't quit. What is going to happen when my soapbox is gone and my megaphone is gone and I am quarantined somewhere and nobody can hear me? Not enough of you tune into this radio station. Not enough of you listen to me on YouTube. You're certainly not all out there sharing my videos, because we're only getting maybe 400 hits per video. Kind of ridiculous when you consider the crap that gets millions of hits out there. People are actually making piles of money putting crap out on, YouTube. I'm just trying to save the world, not trying to make a buck or nothing. But hey, so I know you all think that this is completely dependent on me. And yeah, it is completely dependent on me. But if you guys don't put me in front, if you're not picking me up and raising me up above your shoulders so that the enemy can see that you're doing that, the enemy is never going to confront me, because as long as you treat me like one of you, the enemy is going to treat me like one of you too. And that's not how we win. Okay? Because if they load us all up in a big giant car and drive us into a crematorium, it ain't going to do anything. But if you guys would scream my name out and force the damn media to say my name, put me on TV and make me answer these questions, maybe we could get somewhere. I'm the only one that has any credentials that mean anything in this world. But you guys, you got to get over this ego crap. And you know, I'll tell you, I understand that you got to pay the bills and you got kids and you got to put them through school and you got to do all these things and pay your taxes and yada, 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 yada. And life is expensive. It totally sucks. I agree. That's why we're doing this mission, because I'm sick of everybody's money being stolen. So we have to kill ourselves to survive. So, you know, maybe am I the only one that can devote my entire lifetime to this? Okay, fine, but it's running out. And I'm not defeating the enemy by myself. I need you, because they will just ignore me, and hope that I go away. And eventually I will go away, but I need to make you guys say my name. You guys have to do it. So the other day I had, maybe it was today, someone says, someone just joined the group. They're from Australia. They say, hey, mate, what can we here down in Oz do for support this mission? I said, well, first of all, your country is run by the same enemy. The NSA controls your country also. One of the largest, deepest NSA bases is in Australia. And every single base is our target. And the only way we're going to remove and control all of those bases is by entering the one that is the weakest. And that's why we focused on the Getty, because that's the one that leads us into all the rest. So every single country needs to be involved in this, and every single country needs to put this one issue in front of all other issues. And if we could somehow convince these truckers to do that, to actually say Occupy the Getty, to actually put that on their trucks, at this point, it's all we need. It's all we need. It doesn't matter where they are or what they're trying to get, from what country, what government, or what the issue is, because every single thing that anybody could possibly want could be dealt with just by this one thing. And this is our secret weapon, and all we can do is try to convince people to use that. So you've only got one hero. His name isn't Trump. Until Jesus comes back, you're going to have to work with what you got. And right now, I'm the only one that can do this for you. And if you can't embrace that, and you can't get behind me and put out a hell of a lot more effort than you're putting out right now, then I can't help you or anyone else. And a lot of people say, yes, we're going to win this anyway. Yeah, of course we're going to win this. Of course we're going to win this. There is no lose. So are you going to be there? Are you going to make it? Are your friends going to make it? Are your children going to make it? Are the people you love going to make it? Is it going to go good for you? Do you want to be a hero? Do you want to be part of this? I personally think that this is what you're put here for. So yeah, those of you that are already putting out all kinds of work, thank you. Keep it up. Some of you that have already put out a ton of work, I need you to do a lot more. And if there's people out there that'll never start, then those of you that are already working your butt off, try to get more people to do what you're doing. All right? You got to get people to do what I do. What do you do? What do you do? Dominate social media. Start all kinds of pages. Collect humans. Figure out how to do that. Network. Being on Twitter and having 9 followers isn't doing diddly squat. You need thousands and thousands and thousands. You need to cultivate that stuff. Same thing on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, same thing. You need to get it thousands and thousands and thousands. This is the only way it's going to work. And I don't care what country you're in. The guy over there in the Netherlands is doing all the good work. What a perfect example of how it should be done. But I need people in every country doing it. Not just people that speak English. You got to realize that this is the only answer and that this is the only way we're going to get it done. And if you don't put me out in front, you don't put my name out there, You're going to get Ally Carters. You're going to get fakes, fake heroes. They're going to be very flawed. That aren't going to be able to answer the questions and are certainly not going to know how to finish this job. So that's what it's really all about, is getting this job done. And if I'm angry, if I'm getting a little impatient, yeah, I do this quite a bit. But you know what? This is getting old. And I really don't feel like losing any more ground to the enemy. And if you think that this is a good sign because I must be making some hurt on them and they need to be responding, well, that's not good enough. I'd like to see that happening when I've got a few million people behind me, okay? A little bit more. A little bit more. And while you're at it, some financial contributions would be a little helpful too. It's been a rough week. It's been a rough couple of weeks. It's been a rough month. It's just the way it is. I understand people are waiting for their tax returns, whatever. I'm sorry. I'm not like that, but, you can't help me. You're too busy working. You can't contribute. You can't put your neck out on the line. Then send me money. Give me penance and we'll find someone else that can do it. I'm beginning to think maybe that's the answer. Maybe I do need to raise $100,000 and put billboards up all over this country or do some stupid thing like that. But I need to do something, and I need to get creative, and I need more bodies, and I need more people to step up. And I can't have anyone getting their feelings hurt, okay? So, yeah, it's time to step up. This is it. This is no time to be worrying about what the enemy is doing. We're in a war. The enemy is trying to kill us right now. We need to stop having fear about what the enemy is doing, and we need to be doing things that the enemy needs to be fearing. They need to be worried about what we're doing, not the other way around. When I see Mountain View in here, I right away think that we're being visited by somebody from Silicon Valley, because that's where most of those guys are located. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if somebody from a legal team was standing by just to see what was being talked about tonight, to gather information, to see whether or not I was inciting people, which of course we are always trying to do, much more so than they could possibly imagine. But as far as the Twitter thing is concerned, I just want to remind you again, before I go, some of the ways that you guys can actually be productive and do a little bit more. For instance, this concept of having more than one Twitter. Yeah, that's actually works really well, especially if you have one that's doing all the posting and it's picked up and shared by all the others. Do that. You should have it anyway. If you don't have multiple emails, what are you waiting for? You should have multiple Facebook accounts, multiple email, Instagram, multiple Twitters, multiple YouTubes, all these things. You should have your own YouTube page with the content. You should, if you're watching my videos, you should be making playlists of the videos that you watched of my videos. Those will show up in searches, okay? Just creating your own playlists of my videos will make those videos show up in other places. There's a hell of a lot of work to do. When you're in Facebook, for instance, you join all kinds of groups, even if you have no interest in what those groups are about, and then you create your own groups, and then the bots will send people from all those other groups and suggest that they visit your group. That's how you get those big numbers in these groups, and you can't be focused on something like Getty or Stephen Kelly if you think you're going to get anybody to go, because the enemy has already labeled me a shill. You don't even know what that means. But the bottom line is, if you have to do a bait and switch, if you have to be manipulative and coerce these people and trick them into learning something, so be it. That's what the enemy does. We have to do that too if we're going to compete in those forums that the enemy created. You need to do it. Now, if I've only got 2,000 people on Telegram and we're only growing so fast, I'd say something's wrong there. Just the other day, since yesterday when I started bitching at everybody, a whole bunch of new people got added. Oh, I don't know, maybe 50, 100, something like that, where it went from, I don't know, maybe close to 100 people got added. How many of those people stick around? We don't know. But the point is that everybody should be doing that. Everybody, 2,000 people should be watching my videos. 2,000 people should be commenting. 2,000 people should be liking. At least all those people should have been on my Twitter. If I'm posting memes, 2,000 people should be reposting those memes on their Twitters, on their Facebooks, on their Instagrams, on their TikToks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People say, oh, well, you got kicked off of Twitter. Well, maybe you ought to go on this platform. No, people, you're still not listening. You need to go on that platform. Do what Jesus said. Jesus said, do as I have done. I'm telling you, do as I have done. Go do what I did. I have all those videos out there, all that information, tons of it. Go spread it around. Go make this stuff viral. Get these people on TikTok. Get these people on our Telegram. We should be going crazy right now. Create stickers. Create things that can be plastered. Create mailers. Create postcards. Create graffiti art. Create stencils. Spam this crap. And if you get in trouble, spam better. And if you go on someone's page and you want to spam it, make sure that they follow our stuff and that they're not pushing some crazy crap, because they will come back to our page and want to spam some of their stuff. And we'd like to make sure that the stuff they spam isn't enemy propaganda. So this is all very important. You have a lot of work to do. You have to filter this stuff really good. You have to use your discernment, and you got to stop depending on me. And I'd like to hope that the couple thousand people that are on Telegram, because those are the only ones I can even reach out to anymore, I hope that those people have got the smarts and the drive and the motivation, the desire, the passion for the mission to actually do the work. Because if they don't, we're out of luck. What does that leave me with? The 29 people that are listening right now? Or the 300 or 400 that watch my videos out of the couple thousand people that subscribe to me? It's pathetic, people. Don't tell me that I'm quitting when you guys are dropping like flies and my ability to reach you is going into the toilet. Okay? I'm not the one quitting here. You guys are the ones that haven't started. And don't tell me, but I did this and I did that. If you did, then I'm not talking to you. But if you haven't done anything, yeah, I'm talking to you. Chicken Little, whatever. Or what is that? Henny Penny? No soup. You get no soup. You didn't contribute. You need to get with the program really quick. All right. That's it for me tonight. I'll see you guys next week. I'll put a link for the Telegram at the bottom of the thing, and obviously I'll put a link for the, well, it's not going to be a link, but basically it'll be you want to donate, you got to go to Stephen Kelly 714 at yahoo.com. Stephen Kelly 714 at yahoo.com. All right, that's the PayPal. Hope you guys use it. Please say friend or family, because I will have to send it back. All right? And if I send it back, I can only hope that you guys will figure out how to do it right and send it again. Sometimes you don't. So either way, thank you. All right. So with that, thank you for listening. Those of you that are still here, of course. And if you're listening to this on the YouTube, please make a comment. Please like it, do what you can, but mostly make a comment. Okay. You got to make these comments, because half the time I don't even see the comments. They say 6 comments and I see 2. Okay. Something's wrong there. Something's going on. Let's see if we can try to make a little more noise and do it quickly. All right? Impress me. Show me what you got. By this time next week, let's see if we can get up to 1 million people behind us instead of just a couple thousand. All right? How about a few more listeners? Oh, yeah, a whole bunch of you just pop back in. That's weird. All right, let's see if we can put some energy into this. Light a fire, everybody. Under everybody. I'm trying to light a fire under you. Well, now you need to go out and light a fire under everyone else. All right? Let's do it. Okay, once again, My name is Stephen D. Kelly. This is Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. It's still February 10th, 2022. I'm getting old. All right, you guys, help me out and step up to the plate. Okay? I'll see you guys next week. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.